Hallå ja, hej! Jag heter Maja. På Instagram och Ravelry heter jag sjomajlin. Idag är den 16 oktober och jag befinner mig i Jönköping, Sverige. Did you get that? I hope you did. I think some of the more important words are very similar, so I hope you got that. So hi, welcome. How have you been? Is everything okay? I really do hope so. There will be coughing today as well, fair warning. I've got some tea to try and to, keep things smooth, but there will be coughing. Yeah, I've been working this week with my cough. So if there are new viewers, you might not know that I work with, well, there are so many things that could be said. What I do is I go around to different sort of nursing homes, I guess, in the, care for the elderly, and for people who are, and I never learned this, mentally handicapped. And I said this before, at least in Swedish, the word changes ever so often, what is like politically correct to say, so it never really sticks, because I know that if I learn this, the next time I'm gonna say it, it's gonna be wrong. So I really do not mean any offense at all if that was a bad word to use, but you know what I mean anyway. So I go to these different places and I sing. I have a piano with me, an electric piano, and I sing for about an hour. Excuse me. And sometimes, or some of the gigs I do alone, and some of the gigs I do together with my colleague. And so this week we've done most gigs together, so he's been in charge of the singing and I've just been playing the piano. But I've had 2 gigs and I have one this afternoon where I'm doing them alone, so I need to sing, and it's been interesting. With the coughing. So the first one that I had to sing was on Tuesday, and I was super nervous. I've never, I've been home for about 3 weeks, hardly speaking, absolutely not singing, with just coughing and coughing and coughing, and I've never been this long without using my voice and without singing or humming or, because it's just something that I do without even thinking about it, but I haven't been able to, stop scratching your arms, I haven't been able to over the last couple of weeks, because of the coughing. So before Tuesday I obviously started to sort of warm up, or to feel if it was at all possible, and I felt, how do you say, my technique is pretty good, but it was still, sort of swaying because, the vocal cords weren't used to be working, pretty much. So I thought it would be okay, but not great, obviously. But so I went on Tuesday, being very nervous, and I just said, what, I've been poorly. And I'm still coughing. I'm back to the energy now, but I'm still coughing, so I'll try to cough between songs, and I did mostly, and it went really great. It wasn't good at all. It sounded awful, probably, but I really did feel that I had the, technique as a stable base or ground to stand on, so that was awesome. And then I had another one of those yesterday where I needed to sing, and it was okay up until like sort of the last song where I had to break because I had one of these, you know, sort of almost scream cough attacks where I almost, you know, coughed almost to the point of throwing up, and it was just, you know, it was awful. And they were like, we're not gonna sing anymore today. Do you need some water? And it was, I know them pretty well. I've been, that's a place where I've been for several years now, so I know them pretty well. And it wasn't, I mean, if it were to happen, that was a good place for it to happen. So I wasn't embarrassed, you know, like that, but still it was like, that's not good. That's sort of embarrassing. But it was okay. And so I do have another gig today. I need to leave in about an hour, where I also need to sing. The best thing about that is one of the ladies there sometimes is very easily amused. One of the things that she just laughs hysterically at is when someone coughs. So I mean, there will be laughter, and that's a good thing. So it'll be okay, even though it's gonna be interesting to see if the voice will carry today or what'll happen. So yeah, it's been working okay with work this week, and I've been able to sleep through the nights this week. I'm sure I'd woken a few times to cough in the middle of the night, but it's getting better. I absolutely am getting better. Last week I told you a bit about the debacle with the doctor lying in my charts. And I've been waiting to hear back from the, and I really don't know what to call them, but it's a third party to turn to if you have any issues with your healthcare or the medical establishments that you don't, where you can solve it with them directly. You have this third party or person to turn to that I talked about last week. Sorry. And I'm still waiting for them to get back to me. So I'm waiting. I won't just let this pass though. And thank you guys so much for all the incredible feedback. Well, feedback, I guess. A lot of you guys have been reaching out in different ways, and I've been so overwhelmed in a good way, but still so overwhelmed. I haven't answered any of the comments here on YouTube, even though I've read them, and I am going to answer, but I've just been so overwhelmed. It was like, whoa, I need to, you know, just step back and take a few breaths. And a lot of you guys have in different ways reached out to tell a little bit about your experiences in similar situations. And I've said this before, even though I'm not happy to hear that you're going through the same crap, because I mean, in a perfect world no one would have to, so obviously I'm not happy to hear that, but it's always good to know that you're not alone in a situation. And then of course in different countries and different regions or whatever, the system is different and what you can do, and you know, but a lot of you guys have been reaching out to share your stories and to also give some advice of what you've been able to do, and I thank you so much for doing that. And as I've said, I've been very overwhelmed, so if I haven't gotten back to you or answered you, it's I don't even know what to say. It's all good though. You've been very, very supportive. So yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's just, thank you. So I'm still waiting for them to get back to me to see what I can do, I guess. And I'm also waiting, when I talk to the head was whatever of my, and I don't even know what to call it. It's not a hospital. It's like a mini hospital, I guess, sort of. She said, because I said that, well, I can just see the chart from the first visit to the same doctor. I'm curious to see what the second visit notes will say. And she was like, well, yeah, you can see that it goes up after 2 weeks. Which seems weird because the other things had been up earlier than that, but anyway. So I'm curious to see, because that will be on Monday. Monday will be 2 weeks since the second visit to the same doctor. So I'm very curious to see how that holds up, really. And if there are weird things in that as well, I will definitely get in touch with her again. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, other than that, it's been, I've had a pretty rough, stop scratching your arms. I don't even know why I'm doing it. It's getting colder and I usually wear long sleeves. And since I'm just indoors this, well, it's not even morning any longer, I thought I could wear a short sleeve. So I'm not used to having my skin bare, and that is why I'm constantly touching it. This week has been pretty rough with my depression. It's been rough. And as you'll know if you've been with me for a while, this is something that I feel very strongly about, the importance of being able to talk about. Because I do believe that the taboo around mental health issues is very hurtful, or it hurts. How do I put this? I think a lot of people are doing worse than they necessarily have to because of the taboo and the stigma around mental health issues. So for me it is very, very important to be able to talk about these things more or less casually. So that is what I'm trying to do. I am okay. I'm doing okay. You don't need to worry or anything, but I want to be able to, just say that it's been a really rough week without that being a big thing or a stigma or, So yeah, and for those of you who follow me on Instagram, I guess you saw this. I found out about, or I learned about this campaign called Medicated and Mighty, I think, #Medicated and Mighty, where people do post pictures of themselves with their medications. And they might write something more. I just used some hashtags on my photo. So Medicated and Mighty, to say that, well, pretty much sometimes it's necessary, and that's okay. So I joined in on that, and also in an effort to just be, very honest about this. So. Excuse me. Thing is, though, and what I've also experienced this week is, even though this sucks, because it does, I feel sort of, this plant, excuse me, I feel sort of relaxed in the knowledge that, yeah, even though this sucks, it's okay, I'll get through it, better days are coming, and that's, yeah, that's good. Okay, so knitting things, and now I actually do have an itch. I don't know what happened. Knitting things. I've been knitting this week, you guys. I don't have a lot of finished objects, but I did finish these. I had done one of these bookmarks last week, and I was working on, I think I had knitted the second one, but I hadn't blocked it or finished it, and I think I was knitting on the third one, and I've finished 4. And they are not exactly the same, but I think they're kind of cute, and these little tassels, and you can you see? It's the herringbone stitch to give it a little bit more texture. So yeah, these will perhaps be Christmas gifts for my family. I don't know if you're watching. Maybe you shouldn't be watching this close to Christmas. I don't know, but maybe this. The yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners, BFLDK, in the Blue Tit colorway, as I guess you can see, because it really does look like a, or the colors really do look like a blue tit. What's on my hand? Maybe it's tea. Yes, this was leftover yarn from the Morgan hat that I showed you last week. So I used the leftovers to knit these, and I only had like the trimmings of the ends left. So I used up every meter of it and pretty much every centimeter, well, not every centimeter because there were trimmings, but I did really use up, you know, all of the yarn, and that is such a nice feeling to be, I don't even know, excuse me, this is my work phone, I don't have to answer it, but I can't turn it off. That was just an email though, so it's not. That is the only properly finished object I've got this week. I have a sort of finished, half finished object. I spun this yarn. It's a natural grey, excuse me. Gotland lamb's wool that I spun from, what do you say, just like a bat, I suppose. Excuse me, I bought this fiber at the mill, and they had pretty much just, what do you say, carded it? Combed it, carded it? Well, washed it obviously and carded it, so it's not been processed very much at all. And I spun this up and I've soaked it and let it dry. So it's been washed very carefully, so it's still a lot of lanolin and wool fat in it. So this is about 60 grams and it is about 120 meters, and it is a chain ply, so it is a 3-ply, and I went searching for patterns for it on Ravelry. I will tell you more about that in just a second. So I was looking at comparing the width of the yarn to the length and, you know, whatever. So I believe it's about a worsted weight. If that says anything to you, I don't know. Anyway, I did find out this week or last weekend that one of my aunts is having cancer again. She's getting treatment, and, you know, under the circumstances, I believe she's doing okay. So she's having treatment and her hair came out. So Mom was talking about that she was, because it's her sister, so she was saying, I'm gonna make her a hat. I think she was gonna crochet, and I also felt like I really do want to make her a hat. Oh, I'm tearing up. I don't know. Whew. I didn't expect that. Excuse me. Ooh. I'm okay. I was just caught by surprise of this emotional wave. Yeah, so my idea is that lamb's wool will be soft, and to keep a lot of the lanolin and wool fat in might also be, you know, good for the skin on her head. Maybe, because I'm guessing it's very sensitive or I know without having the experience myself. Yeah. So I do have plans for this. I was searching for patterns on Ravelry and I found one. I really don't remember what it was called though. But it's sort of a lacy, almost like rose flowers motif. I think I decided on that one anyway. There were a few others also that I was thinking about, but so I spun this with her in mind, and I am going to knit a hat out of this. So this is still a work in progress, if you will. So yeah, if you do though have a good suggestion on a pattern that I could knit, and you see this reasonably soon, because I will be casting this on to get it to her. But if you do have a really good suggestion on a pattern, please let me know. So the yarn itself that I spun up is a finished object, but the yarn is a work in progress. Yes, and then I have some other works in progress. I'm just thinking about what order to take them in, it doesn't really matter. I'm knitting on this sweater. I don't remember. I know that I had finished the body of this last week. I don't remember if I had picked up and started the sleeve. This really needs to be blocked because it rolls and it looks kind of weird. So this is the sweater with the dropped stitches. Where is it? And where's the light? You can see there. They are dropped on purpose. Excuse me. Well, anyway, so I'm working on the first sleeve. You can see there, it's sort of halfway or elbow length. Yeah, and I'm dropping some stitches on the sleeve as well. It's kind of hard to show you guys, especially with the backlighting, I guess, but you can see there. Yeah, it's coming along. I did some calculations on how to do the decreases on the sleeve. I usually, because I'm not using a pattern for this, I'm just, you know, making it up as I go. I usually don't really do calculations and think about it that much, but for this I felt that I really don't have any clue or any idea how to think or how to imagine on, you know, how often to do the decreases for the sleeve and so on. So I did some calculations. And excuse me for just a second. I dropped a glass bowl quite a few days ago and it shattered into a million pieces, and I cleaned it up, of course, but I just saw something that looked very much like a little shard, is that the word, of glass, and it was, so I wanted to pick it up as I saw it and not hope that I wouldn't find it with my toe later on. So that is a work in progress that you recognize. And then I have this over here, which is my mitered squares, which is, it's going to be a shawl. So I was working on this last week as well. I don't remember how far I was then, but I'm working on the 8th square right now. The idea is, because I have the yarn, I didn't say what the brown is, if you don't know. Einband Loopy, an Icelandic yarn, which is 100% wool, and it's kind of thin, so my sweater, I'm knitting that sweater on size 3mm needles, and it's airy. Yeah. But that's what I want it to be, so that's good. Let me just look at the time. The time of the day, because I need to get to work, but it's no, I'm in no rush yet. So this is knit out of Drops Alaska, which is 100% wool yarn, in 2 different shades of blue. With the amount of yarn I had, I did a fast calculation, and I know that I can get 15 squares out of it. And I was thinking about the design, or the shape that I wanted to have. So the idea right now is, so here is a stripe, I guess, if you will. And I think of it as, this is 2 blocks, if you think that this is done as well. Then I have 2 blocks of 4. And then I'm thinking to add another block of 4 to an angle to it. So it is a L shape, or if you do it like that, it'll be a V shape. And that will be, you know, the V will come across over, or come over my shoulders. So that will be 12 squares. And I think that I know that I will be able to get 15 squares out. So then I have 3 more squares to put somewhere. And I don't really know what to do about that. I think, however, that I might, because I did the I was a bit, what's the word? I don't know, pessimistic perhaps? Or, I don't know. I calculated a bit lower, I guess. So I'm hoping that I will actually be able to get 16 squares. So then I'm thinking to do these blocks of 3 times 4, and then I will be able to have 4 more squares. Then I'm thinking I'll add them on to what will be the front of the shawl. So I will be finishing up this square, obviously, and then I will start to work at the angle of it. So that's coming along, and as you can see, I'm just working with these 2 colors, but I am alternating or changing up the patterns somewhat, or the stripings, or the color block, or whatever. Okay, and then I have another work in progress, and I just have to say that if Björn or Patrick is watching, just skip ahead, because I will be showing something and I will be talking about it. That will be, I am knitting 2 of the same thing, and I'm working on the first one, and they will be Christmas gifts for Björn and Patrick. So, don't watch. And this has been so frustrating, because both of these guys are my friends on Ravelry, Instagram. And this, I've been, really biting my tongue, biting my thumb, I suppose, not to post this to Instagram, because it's been such a fun and tricky, or even annoying knit, that I've been wanting to share it so much. But I know that both of these guys watch Instagram regularly, so they would see it, and it's been so annoying. Let me just tie this up. So what I'm working on is a companion cube, and I still haven't, I know it's from a TV game or a video game, and I know what the game is called, and I blanked on it last week, and I still haven't, it hasn't popped up in my head yet. So I'm working this. It is going to be a cube. I did work the bottom flat, and then I continued on, up at an angle, but it's flat obviously, and then I cast on 3 more sides to that. So I'm working the sort of the body of the square, or the cube, in the round right now, and then when that's done, I will bind off 3 of the sides and then continue to work the 6th side to the cube in the flat as well, and then I will seam it up. So I did, because I was so curious to see how it would be, I did seam the bottom side to the other sides just very, very roughly using a yellow thread, and it's not time to sneeze. No, go away. It won't go away. Yes, I only did this very, very roughly. It's obviously not going to look like this later. But I wanted to see what it would... how it would be. So the motif is this, or the design is this. And if you do search for companion cube on Ravelry, you will find this, and it links through to... I guess it's a blog. Where where you can find some instructions and the color work chart. But this is the motif, and so obviously this is supposed to go these darker gray. I can't tell my left from right, my left from light. These darker gray stripes go over the corners, and so here you can see the very rough seam where it meets, and can you see that the knitting is in different directions there because of how the cube is constructed, really. So the directions tells you to cast on for all the 6 sides plus sticking stitches in the round, and knit them all in the round, and then stick, and then seam up all the sides. Both because it's easier to knit the color work in the round, and also that all the seams in the sides will add stability to the cube. But I decided to do it this way. I don't know if it was wiser or not, because the color work was really difficult to do in the flat, let me tell you. And it's kind of hard to do it in the round as well, because I am not carrying the pink along. At these rows, where the pink goes at the sides, I've been carrying it all the way around. But on the other rows, where it's just this thin stripe there and up here, and for the main portions of the heart, I've not been carrying it with me around. So I have these little bobbins wound up where I do this. So I've been, because you do knit across, and then you leave the pink yarn hanging there, and then you knit around, and then you come back here and you need the yarn to be there. So I've been lifting it back and trying to keep the floats smooth, or what do you say, long enough but not too long for it to be, you know, all gappy. So it's been a very, very enjoyable knit, and I'm really loving working on this, but it's also been very, very frustrating. But I'm having fun with it. So I seamed this up yesterday because I was so curious to see just, you know, will it work? And I bought some, I ended up buying some yoga blocks that and they weren't the right size, so I had to sort of go at them with a sharp knife, and then I glued them together with a, what do you say, like a hot glue gun, to sort of trying to make a square, or a cube to fit in this. So I seamed it up to sort of just try it on, and I think it will be good, even though there is a lot of finishing to be done once the knitting is finished. And this is just the first of 2 that I'm making. But I'm having fun, as I said. The yarn that I'm using is Fuga. Excuse me. That I showed you last week, because I had gotten a pretty big haul of the same yarn in different colorways that I'm using for, well, different sort of stuffies for Christmas. So it is a Swedish yarn. It is 50% superwash wool and 50% acrylic. So it is soft and squishy, and I think that it will I think that it will, because acrylic doesn't block that well. Superwash blocks very well, in a sense. So I'm thinking that I will be able to block it out to rest the color work. And then I think that it will also hold up pretty good with, well, wear and tear that stuff is go through. And it just looks really weird the way I put it down, but that's, I guess that's... I was going to say something else. I don't know. I've been working on that anyway, and having very much fun with it. And as I've said, I've been so close to taking pictures of it and posting it to Instagram so many times, and I'm like, no. So let me just put that over there. Then I've been experiencing some serious stash guilt this week, or hoarder's guilt even. And I'm trying to overcome that. But I have, because I did show you a big haul of yarn last week, all of which is planned for. So I showed you the yarn that are going to be these different sort of stuffies for Christmas gifts. And then there was yarn for the still light. I almost fell off my chair, or my stool. The tunic that I'm also planning on knitting. And this week I have even more yarn. And I don't blame anyone else for having a large stash or whatever, but I feel so guilty, and I don't really know why. I really just need to get over that. But I mean, I guess part of it is that my apartment is really, really tiny, so I can't really... my stash can't take up more space than it does right now. So I guess that's part of it. I don't know. Well, anyway, so I mentioned, I think I mentioned last week that when I showed you all the Järbo Fuga, because this is another one of that yarn, that I had planned to make the cubes, and then a Totoro and a Pikachu. And then I realized that I needed a sort of a cream color as well for Totoro, and I had completely forgotten to buy that. So I've gotten one of these, which is then supposed to go with, and there's not a lot left of this, but that color, to make the Totoro. So that is just, I don't even know. I got this. Not very much more to say. And that hurts. And then my parents took a week off from work in the autumn, as they sort of usually do, or at least a few days, and went to Öland, which is the long and thin, so the smaller of the two islands on the east coast of Sweden, if you watch it on a map, and which is where we were for a family vacation this summer, and from where I filmed, I think it was episode 48, I think. And my parents go there a lot, because they really, really love it there. And it's been a tradition that when they go without us children, which is, you know, because they do that, and that is as they should, they usually buy, because there are local things on Öland that you can't get here, and in the autumn it's all the harvest things going on and stuff like that. So they usually buy some things and sort of have them in a paper bag, and then when they come home we get a Öland bag. It's become a tradition. With different, it's mostly been like sort of food things, and teas, and yeah, different things. They have this one, special, I don't even know what to call it, like farm shop? It's not though. Well, anyway, on Öland, where they do a special blend of tea. A green tea that is called like a cold tea, as in when you get a cold. So it is with a lot of ginger, and I don't even know what it is, but it is very good for when you have a cold, and I love that tea so much. And you can't get it anywhere else. So I usually, when they are like, we're going to Ireland, do you need anything? Yeah, some tea. Well, anyway, so this time around when they were there, my mom messaged me, sent me a text message saying, we're going to the wool center, do you need anything? And I was like, you can just spring a question like that on me? And I was like, no, I don't, because, excuse me. Sorry. Because we were there this summer. Oh, stop scratching. We were there this summer and I got a few things. I've got, for example, I've got the Z-plied yarn that I used for the twine knitting. So I knew that she was partly asking, you know, do you need... Because it might have been that I was working with some of the yarn that I got and I was like, dude, I really, really need another skein of this. So that was part of the question that she was asking. I knew that, but so I knew that it's not so, I didn't need anything, because it wasn't that I needed to, you know, refill. So I said I don't need anything, but I obviously I need. I don't even know what I answered. Well, anyway, so last weekend I got the Öland bag from my parents. What was that sound? I don't know. And along with the different food things were some yarn that they had gotten on the wool center. So it is, let me just see, because I haven't even looked. I think it's a 2-ply. I can't get hold of just one strand. Or is it a 3-ply even? Yes, it is a 3-ply. So it is wool. I believe that it is, I'm not very... I don't know a lot about yarn dyeing, but I believe that it is over-dyed, or that it's dyed on a grey yarn, wool, words. So it is 2 different shades of, well, what I said when I saw it was that, oh, I can see this beautiful field of heather where the sun is, you know, what do you say? Like shining through the trees, so it's not, what do you say, the sun shine is not solid. Do you know what I mean? But there are shades and there are bright spots, and it's these colors. So they are absolutely gorgeous. So this really wasn't my fault. The other stuff I'll have to admit to having bought myself, but these really weren't my fault, but they are gorgeous. So I got them, and then I went to Netto, because that is one of my guilty pleasures. That is a store, or a chain of stores even, where they have, it's not, I wouldn't say that it's a big box store, but they do have, how do I say this? You can't... The things they have in stock changes frequently. You can't go there expecting to find something. Or well, they do have some, like groceries, food things, which they, you know, some milk and some fruit and stuff, and that they will, you know, always have. But then they have loads of other very different things, and you can't be sure to find if there is something specific you're looking for from week to week. But they do have a lot of things, and it's usually not, or most of the things is not very expensive, so it is sort of viewed as one of the cheaper stores. But they do really have some nice things, and some sort of exclusive things that you can't find anywhere else. And to, you know, a decent quality. It might not be top quality, but then again you're not paying for top quality. And From time to time they will have yarn. And as I said, it's sort of my guilty pleasure to shop at this store because I just find it hilarious. And it's just so deliberately unorganized in the store. You're browsing through the shelves of things and it's just like, you know, cat food, cleaning supplies, clothes, tools, like all jumbled up, and it's just hilarious. Well, anyway, so I bought some sock yarn, and I've shown you this brand before. It's called Christina, which is a lady's name. If you look at the picture of some knitted samples, last fall I got the green one and the yeah, I'm not sure it's still on there, but I had like a blue gray one. I don't think it's the same that is on there now, but I'm not sure. And so I saw these two color words. Colorways that I haven't seen before, and I just totally fell in love. So this one is sort of purpley and blue-green. And this is more of a coral purple and cream. And they will, looking at the sample picture again, they will work up into these sort of mock ferile. Oh, I'm shaking. So the ones that I have is the one in the middle and then the one on the... I really don't have any idea if this is the far right or the far left right now, because... yeah. So yeah, I really just fell in love with these colorways, as I said. The yarn is 75% wool and 25% polyamide. It's 50 grams per ball, and that is 210 meters. So it's a good sock yarn. And the yarns that I worked with before have been really, I mean, it's very soft. And they have, as far as I know, they've been wearing well. The ones that I've kept for myself has been wearing well, and the ones that I've gifted I don't really know about. But so it's a good yarn, and I'm happy with it. Obviously I haven't started working with it yet. Last year I did Socktober all in. I knit all or only socks in all of October, which was a fun experiment. I'm obviously not doing that this year because it was too, how do you say, I want to use the word monotone, but I really don't know how to what the syllables would be in English. Monotonual? No. I really don't know. Maybe you know what word I'm going for though. Maybe. So I got that yarn, and then as I was spinning up the lamb's wool, that I had gotten last summer, I had an urge to sort of restock my fiber supply. I have some more unspun fiber, but not a lot. So I went to a web shop looking for some wool, and I got a little bit crazy. And so they came wrapped up in these tissue papers, I guess. So I wanted to keep them like that, and now I just ripped one of them or popped my thumb through. So let me show you. I got this. And I need to read on on the receipt what it is. This is BFL, Blue-Faced Leicester. And as you can see, it's just, I don't think that it is dyed. I think it's just blended from different color sheeps. Sheep. And it's not, well, I guess you could sort of turn it into a very loose braid, but it's not been very processed in the fiber prep. However, I think this is just beautiful, and it's super, super soft. So I have that. I believe it is 100 grams. Sorry. It doesn't say on here. It says though, because I ordered 4 different things, and it says that the total weight is 440 grams. So I'm guessing it's about 100 grams per each, and then, because that was for postage, so I'm guessing that about 100 grams each. Sorry for the paper. About 100 grams each of the fiber bumps, and about 40 grams for the packaging, I guess. And then I got this gray, and again I need to read, which is a Shetland, Shet Grey. Yeah, which is the same. I believe it's natural, or what do you say, undyed, and it's also the same. It's just been sort of pulled into a long I don't even know what to call it. And let me, I don't really have any more space. I have a light shining on me here, and I just knocked it over. Sorry. And then I have another Shetland, which is this beautiful browny color. And it says that it's Moorit. Moorit. I've never seen that word before. I don't know if that is a name for this color, like color-wise, or if that is a name for the color of the animal. Because you know sometimes, well, blue-faced Leicester, for example, they're not blue, but the colorway in animal is called blue, but it's not blue, you know? So I don't know if Moorit, I don't even know how to pronounce. I don't know if it is a word for the color, or if it's a word for the animal color, or if it's something completely different. Anyway, and then I got this, which also is blue-faced Leicester. I'm all over the place. And this is obviously a braid, and it's been dyed. I guess that this also has been dyed on grey wool. So this is hand-dyed wool from Gammeldags, it says. And this is, the colorway is Midnight Pine Forest, and I think that's a very descriptive name of the colorway. And here on my little viewfinder, it looks very true to color, so hopefully it does. So it's this darker, almost royal blue, going into this more muted, sort of turquoise. It's not turquoise at all though, in different shades, and then this green pine forest, I guess, with yeah, it really does look like it's been dyed on grey wool, so I'm guessing that's the case. So I have a lot of yarn, and I have a lot of what would you say? Yarn embryos, I guess. So yeah, I've been having, or I'm having some hoarders or stash anxiety. I just really need to get over that. So that's all the, excuse me, that's all the fiber and yarn that I got this week. Let me just pop that in there as well, so I know where I put it because it's things all over here right now, so I need to have some sort of order. I have another thing, which is sort of a favorite thing of the week, that I'm trying to do every once in a while. I don't do it every week, but that's just life. Excuse me. I posted this to Instagram. Excuse me. I posted these to Instagram as well when I got them, because I ordered it in the mail and I got it on a day earlier this week. I don't remember what day it was. That I've been adding, or I am adding, some artwork to my life. And it's just very simple. I ordered some different postcards and I've put them in frames. So, and I posted to Instagram, I said like, I'm adding art, or art truth, it's the same thing, something like that. So first up we have this, wake up, kick ass, repeat. Yeah. And then we have do more of what makes you happy. Yeah. And then last but not least we have, but first, tea. And I just really, really love these. They are wonderful. And I really do love that, because as I said, these are pretty simple. I mean, very simple, just postcards. Postcards, I don't know what I said. But if you put them in a frame, they really do look very elegant, I suppose. And, well, fancier. And I really do like that. So I left these here to show you guys. So I will figure out where or how to hang them, or, because they do have these as well. So that you can have them standing. I'm contemplating maybe taking one to work. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, oh, that's another thing. That is sort of fun. It's not. Last Friday I got a text message from my boss, because I wasn't at work. So I told you last New Year, or at New Year, or at work, we've been having 3 floors. And last year we were getting rid of the 3rd floor. Or we wouldn't get rid of it, but we wouldn't be using it anymore. And at that point it was pretty much just me having my office up there. And then there was mostly just storage. So it made total sense. So I had to move down a floor and, you know, sort of get all my things assembled and everything like that. It was a bit crazy. And then I knew that we would eventually be moving down, all of us, to the 1st floor. So we would get rid of the 2nd floor as well. Excuse me? Fiber. And this fall, they started doing that because they needed to renovate or move walls around to make room for all the offices we needed to have on the 1st floor. And so earlier this fall, they started doing that. And so a few weeks ago, before I got the plague, I asked the boss, you know, tell me now, what's the deal about the offices? What's the time plan? And it was like, it's gonna be done about this date, which was like last, or the week before last, I think. But you can stay up here till the end of the year. And I was like, good, fine, then I know. And then I know that I don't need to rush to pack my things up, and I can, you know, things like that. And then they needed I had some cabinets, shelf units, I guess, where I had my stuff. And, well, this is just weird. They were needed elsewhere, and that was okay. I'm not going into more detail than that. So I had to pack up my things and I packed them in these moving boxes so that I could still, you know, access. So I put the... Usually when you pack something in a box, you pack it downwards, you know? But I put the boxes that way so I could pack it in... So it was like shelves. So that I was able to access my stuff. Anyway, so last Friday I got a text message on my work from the boss saying, we've moved all your things down to the first floor now. Okay. Your computer is not hooked up to the network, and you don't have a chair. We need to get you a new one. Okay. And I just, you know, my thoughts just... Because I knew that first thing Monday I would do a double gig. And then I would rush into town, meeting up a colleague for a lunch, and then we would have a meeting. So first thing when I got back to the office would be having a meeting. And I was like, I need a chair to sit on, I need a chair for her to sit on, and I need access to the network so that I can get onto our online computer data system, and I need access to the printer. And you know, this is a colleague of mine that I was having the meeting with, so it's sort of an internal meeting, if you will, so it's not like an external important client like that. But still, my mind was just, you know, racing. Oh, I need to get in touch with her and tell her what's... And then I was like, no, calm down. She knows sort of what it's like. We'll make it work somehow. We'll use someone else's computer or whatever. We'll make it work. And we did. It was okay. But I was like, you know... So I've been in at the office this week, because I was allowed to unpack in there all of a sudden without even knowing if anything... Well, anyway, so I unpacked all my things and I moved some furniture around and tried to make things work, and I have this hydraulic desk that you can do this. It's you push a button and it goes up, and then you push another button and it goes down. And so when I was moving it around, I needed to pull the plug, and then it wouldn't go up, it would just go down. And I panicked, and I was looking through the internet, and then I found out, or I searched for what might be wrong, and then I found out that when it's been unplugged, you need to sort of recalibrate it by taking it all the way down and let it do its thing, whatever. But I was so worked up over all these things for quite a while. But now I think that... Or I did send a message to my boss again yesterday. I think I sent him an email asking, like, is there a time plan for when my computer will be hooked up? Because I sort of need to know. And so he answered me that it should have been done on Tuesday, but let me check on that. So I think that was the answer that I got earlier. But it's just been so frustrating, you know, things like that. But that's sort of why I'm thinking that I might bring some of these, or one of these, or, sorry, I don't know, but to sort of, what do you say? I really don't know this word. I don't at all mean it like a baptism, but at least in Swedish we sometimes use the same word for like a grand opening, or like the presentation of something, or for when it's like when you launch something, you know? And I really don't know what word to use, but it's like the new launch of my new office, I guess. So maybe, yeah, I don't even know, you guys. I just feel like talking. Okay, thing is, however, I need to be ready to leave for work in about 5 minutes, so I better, I don't know, brush my teeth or something. I better get to it. I won't say much more about the Smile Cal this week than it's still going on, and thank you very much for the posts on Instagram and Ravelry. If you're new and don't know what I'm talking about, last week's episode, towards the end, I was talking a bit more about the Smile Cal, telling you what it is. But for this, so check that out if you don't know what I'm talking about. But for this week, I'm just gonna say it's still on, and please join if you want to. And thank you for the participation. I think I had some other like little administrative thing like that, but maybe not. Yeah, I guess not. So thank you very much for spending some time with me. And again, thank you so much, those of you who've been in touch over the last few weeks, concerned about my health or my issues with the healthcare system or my knitting for that matter. I'm sorry I haven't got back to all of you yet, but it's been overwhelming in a good way again. So I will sit down and go through the comments on YouTube and answer them. I think I've answered on Ravelry the messages. I'll have to check to be sure. But thank you very, very much. It means a lot. So please like and subscribe and comment if you want to on YouTube, and you can be my friend on Ravelry and I'll friend you back. And as I said, I'm sjomajlin on there and on Instagram as well, if you want to follow me. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. And for those of you who are at Rhinebeck this weekend, I'm not at all jealous. Do take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves and one another, and be creative, and I hope you all stay safe and healthy and cozy. Have a great weekend and a great week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!